What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. I know this is probably not likely. I like to imagine that McFarlane Toys watches what the Hasbro Marvel Legends team is doing and goes, oh, let me drop a few more new releases on you guys. Because it feels like every other week we're getting something new from McFarlane. Last week we got the DC Classics style take on Green Lantern, Aquaman, the DC Rebirth, Batman, and more classic colors. This week, we got an onslaught. Surprise, surprise, of more Batman stuff. Just in time when the Marvel Legends team dropped a whole new wave, the Build-A-Figure Zabu wave. We got a few more new reveals today, some that I think a lot of collectors are going to be really excited about. Nothing that really leaped off the page to me, but definitely enough to break down and get my thoughts on them right now. So let's take a look at what we got from McFarlane this week. First off was the Knightfall Night's End version of Azrael. This was revealed yesterday, and all the hype of the Marvel Legends wave. And I think this is a really good figure. I just wanted to take another look at it, but really love the sheen on the wings, how they've got those points. And for the most part, this is the repaint of the Azrael version that we already got with the new helmet piece. And I think those shoulder pads are new as well. I didn't get that one because it was a Walmart exclusive, and those are always impossible to track down. But I think the red and the gold actually looks a lot better, just in terms of signaling Azrael's full descent to madness, to the dark side, if you will, rocking the Sith red. And it's just a really striking color scheme, and I think they did a really nice job with it. But as with all things McFarlane, we got to get a lot of DC Batman action coming. So this one, no doubt, you recognize is the first appearance of Batman from Detective Comics, number 27. And a lot of things to break down with this. First off, the wired cape. It's really nice to see McFarlane dabbling into that and starting to do more figures with it. Now, what's cool about it is this head sculpt definitely has more of a classic golden age look to it. The really small bat, the unique utility belt, and the purple gloves. So it definitely gets that whole feel of this look right here. And definitely classic old school Batman here. But that's really cool that they got that look. It is kind of weird because it's like, clearly a lot more blue than the all black that he went with. I really wish more companies, and we saw this with a Nightfall Batman, the exclusive one, where he did a lot more shading of blue. I don't have any problem with the black. I would love to see like these blue highlights just to break up some of that, like, just a little bit in the cowl here, just a little splash right there on the trunks and further down into the boots. I think that would make for a really, really cool and impressive take on Batman that we haven't seen so far. And then, of course, with this look, we're missing the bat point to the cape. So, the silhouette we see in the logo all the time, we're missing this with the cape. And while it's great to have a wired cape, I feel like it's really missing something, not having those curves and points that we're so used to with this look for Batman. This is just kind of a generic cape without it. And we've seen better versions with that. I feel like it's really kind of missing something, getting that full-on accuracy. But I do love this head sculpt. I think he did a really good job with this one, and certainly one that you could use for other Batman figures. I think with a better cape, this would be a really good Golden Age Batman, though. So this is cool. This one's going up for pre-order on February 29th at stores like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. So that's a really nice first reveal for today. The other one, very surprising, is the Knightfall Batman mold with a black and gray color scheme. The gray still looks like it's as light as it was. I just knew I was going to knock somebody over with this one. So that's going to look pretty interesting with the black color scheme. It looks like he's got probably the Batarang in his hand and can't quite place it. And this is the only figure shown. It seems for sure like the cape is the same, but you see what I'm talking about with the cape. It's got the points. That's what I need for my Batman capes, and that's intact with this one. And this looks cool. in black, just as it did in blue, in the special accents exclusive edition with that cell shading, which I thought was really awesome. Although the numbering or the naming of this a little bit wrong here, because I was curious, maybe I forgot something on Batman, Nightfall. So I decided to go onto this gallery of all the covers from Nightfall. And not a one features Batman in black. I was like, well, maybe there was some coloring issues and I just totally missed it. I still think going all out with the cell shading would be the way to go, because it's not a pure blue. It's black and blue with the coloring. And it's just, that looks cool. And that's to me what Batman's outfit looks like. Blue with a lot of black, black with a lot of blue, whichever way you want to break it down. Of course, the iconic pose there. So, as you know, that's the end of Bruce Wayne. And I thought maybe Azrael is rocking a black and gray before he changes his costume totally. That's not the case either. And he's still rocking the blue and the black before he shifts it off and goes on to his full all-out look. I just love the Nightfall colors, the covers. That's why I'm just scrolling through all of them just to be like, hey, maybe I missed something. But I didn't. This is all the way blue until this thing is over and he switches costumes. And make sure we give full credit. This is for the DCFandom.com/wiki Batman Nightfall Gallery. So there you go. Next up is Nightwing from the, I don't know if it's seen much acclaimed, but the DC versus Vampires. And this was a maxi series that went on for 12 issues. I think if this had been a 6-issue mini series, it would have been really effective, but 12 issues was way too long, especially for a storyline that was basically the vampires are so much better than our heroes. And the big payoff was, hey, Nightwing is one of the vampires. And you see, he's got a heart. That is a crazy accessory. That's something, I mean, these guys can't have guns, but they can have hearts. Crazy. He's got blood on the teeth. I mean, it's just like, are we really that worried about guns? Well, we got all this popping up with this. He's got bloody teeth, scars, and rips on his chest. I'm like, good grief, where are our priorities, DC? So anyway, I didn't love the storyline. Like I said, if it was a mini series instead of a maxi series, so much more effective. And it just ran its course way too long, too many spinoffs. But I think this is a pretty decent figure, even if it's not quite representative of how Dick Grayson, the Vampire King, really was in the storyline. I think it's really odd because I think they kind of misinterpreted how the story went. So they just went all out nightmarish vampires as opposed to the more cool Interview with the Vampire style vampires. This is more the 30 Days of Night style vampires. And I don't know, it's a basic reuse of a Nightwing we've already seen before, just with some new elements to it, some new paint. I don't think there's anything else to that. And of course, the new head. For people who have missed out on this Nightwing, here's another opportunity to get it. Maybe some blood on the boot here as well. I mean, I really can't believe this Joker has a heart. That is crazy. And I love this red background. These pictures really stand out for the vampire theme, so that's cool. And, you know, it's a decent enough figure. Just don't really see the need for further digging deep into this storyline when Deceased was a million times better. And he hasn't done a lot of Deceased figures. So I really would wish he would switch that up and move the DC versus Vampires over to DC Direct and go more Deceased, because those are cool costume designs and a very, very superior comic storyline. So here's accessories, and really no mistaking what this is. It's wild. It's funny because even in this proto photo, his Eskrima sticks, I don't even know how you pronounce them, the nunchuck style sticks that he carries all the time, plugs into the hole in his back or to the harness in his back. They're warped here, so you know this can be real trouble when we get a hold of them. Everybody who buys them, they have Nightwing, DC versus Vampires. I don't know who's doing these cards or the art choice for McFarlane Toys, but they really need to talk to DC, get a hold of Google or something, because there are images that they could actually use that would match up better with the figure that they're actually going with here. I forgot the claw hands are also new because he's a vampire, you see. So that's a new addition as well. But really got to do something better with these card art selections. It just didn't really make a lot of sense. And then because he's a gold label, because it's a classic Nightwing from DC versus Vampires. There you go, the full look with him in the packaging. And it's basic, but I always think this color scheme, the blue, for the most part, shows off all the characters really well. It's a nice, shocking look on the peg. So it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And catches your attention. And the gold label makes it pop even more. But I don't know about this. This isn't as exciting to me as I would have hoped. The final reveal today is not Batman related. It's Wally West, the Flash. And you don't have to look too close to see this buck has been used already. It is the original Rebirth Flash body that they went with when they did that figure. And that one suffered from kind of a cartoonish head sculpt. Nice to see this been changed. Not so much with this Wally West figure. I think it makes him look like a sinister, evil version of Flash. And it kind of reminds me of the Cy Spurrier version of Wally, which hasn't been a great run so far. But I think this body is just a terrible choice for Wally. And he looks psychotic and just terrible. Wally needs a good figure from McFarlane. We haven't gotten it yet. The Kid Flash is $40 and he's got tiny hands, but I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. This is one of those, let's just throw in a lot of texture just because, and really they're better blank bodies that he could use. I'm sure these are parts that he could just kind of glue on and put to better figures, because this one is just a weird choice for Wally. And here's another one. I mean, this head sculpt is just so, and I think Mike Deodato is doing the art for this book, this current run of Flash, and certainly not as enjoyable as Jeremy Adams' amazing run, the stellar Joshua Williamson run. It's just kind of all over the place. But this mold is also too tall for Wally. He's going to be one of the taller characters in your display. So this is a poor choice of bodies for Wally. I know it's easier to use the lightning belt, the lightning gloves, and all these other parts, but it's a bad mix of parts, and it just doesn't do anything. It's cool if we get the reuse of these lightning effects to show him running, but this head, I mean, he almost looks Jokerized. I feel like the whole purpose of this head sculpt was to sell the Jokerized version of the Flash later on, because that's more of what he looks like than anything else, and he's just not that exciting to me. So this is more of looks, and it's just, you can see the awkward construction of this body when it's straight out like this, and it's not a good base body. It's one he should have retired when he got that Flashpoint Flash, which is awesome, one of my favorites. This one, just by comparison, just looks bad all around. Legs seem a little bit too long. Forearms look too long. It's just, he's the elongated man version of the Flash. Ralph Dibny, we haven't seen you in figure form in your regular costume, but maybe you're lurking underneath this costume. Let's check to see if this Wally's nose is twitching. And here's the accessories and the lightning bolts again, the stand, and Flash. I'm pretty sure this is one of those variants, Dawn of DC. So yeah, this is that new era version Flash, and it's not a great read so far. The costumes doesn't have any of this texture. I don't know why they went with this. A better choice would have been the Nightfall body. Not the Nightfall, the Flashpoint Barry Allen figure, because that's more along the lines of this look. Very smooth, not a lot of texture details. The opposite of this one. You see the lightning gloves don't even match up. I mean, it's just a really weird choice. And I'm not quite sure what led McFarlane to decide, let's do that as the option, as the choice for this one. So let me pull this up really fast. Mike Deodato Flash, just so I can show you exactly what his Flash is supposed to look like. Cue up Ravish and Rick Rude. So here's like a pretty decent look at it, and it does kind of make him look a bit psychotic. So I get what they were going for, but it's not a great look for a figure. So here's the Mike Deodato version of Wally West, and it's just been a really weird read, especially if you've been a fan of the other writers on the title. And it's creepy, so I guess it matches up that art from the figure well enough, but there's some choices made with that one that I'm not agreeing with and not loving. So that was their decision. They made it, and yeah, it happened. Not a fan. But there's something else that was kind of interesting. I want to make sure to put you guys hip to it before I wrap this one up. So I went to Target, and they're still price matching Amazon, which if you have not picked up the anti-monitor, might be the time for you to go ahead and make that move, because right now Amazon has an anti-monitor. They not as massive as it should be, but pretty solid all anyway. Megafig was regularly $40 for $30.97. And then Target this week also has one of their, depending on your circle membership or how long you've done stuff, they have something where you can get $5 off a $20 purchase, so you can get the anti-monitor for $25, I guess $27 after taxes. There you go. Then they also have one for some people, it's the $25 if you spend up to $100. So there's an option. You can get the anti-monitor cheap, along with some other DC figures, but I noticed his price went down $10, so Target will price match, and then you can take some more off of them to get them down to basically the cost of a Build-A-Figure. So that's pretty good. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about these new McFarlane reveals. I'm back on later tonight with fellas for another edition of Lyle's Movie Files. And of course, I'll be back on tomorrow for another live edition of Lyle's Figure Files. For now, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.